right, let's get into it. A lot of different ways to attack this game. We've got a lot of time to do it today. I love a good victory Monday. We have been waiting a very long time to do this, right? And you might be saying, "Well, to do what? To be able to expect to win, to be able to play meaningful games, just to be able to do anything, to have Sundays where it's just different." And I can't tell you, because you already know, how disappointing the last 3 years were under the Quinn Patricia debacle. Like, how that team was just, it was difficult to root for them. It was. It's not the players' fault. It's definitely not the players' fault there. But it just wasn't it. And then you get this team that's just, they're a likable cast of characters. They truly are. Their head coach has this wild personality. He's a lovable character. And they go on the road against the New York Jets. And week after week after week, on this program, we've had people, call out Dan Campbell. And, hey, rightfully so. They've made some decisions and some choices throughout earlier portions of the season in which you could question what was going on there. Okay. And then you saw at the end of the game just horrific clock management by Robert Saleh. Just horrific. Like, you have all your timeouts. All of them. And you're going to take the ball over 1st and 10 from your own 25. Like, there's no 1st and 10 from your 25 with 149. You got to travel 75 yards, score to win the game, or field goal range, whichever you prefer. And you got to do it in just about 2 minutes. That's feasible. How in the world did you go from 1st and 10 at your 25? Now, granted, I know that Zach Wilson is sacked on this play, but get to the line of scrimmage. And it does take a second for the wide receivers to get back. Okay. But on 1st and 10 from your own 25, you take a sack and you allow 23 seconds to run off the clock. How do you do that? Where are you taking the timeouts after the game? Where are you going to take them? What are you going to do with them? You can't trade them in. It's not like, hey, I have my three timeouts and a pelt. Can I trade this for a bag of grain? I have my 3 timeouts. This is Oregon Trail, and you load up on the guns and ammo and you die of dysentery. This is what this is. You got everything you need, so you think. Use the timeout. 1st and 10 from your own 25, and you allow 23 seconds to burn off the clock. You got to take the first timeout. Okay, maybe you don't want to. Okay. So now you're 2nd and 19 from your own 16. Great pressure there by Okwara. That was the highlight clip that you heard. And you throw an incomplete pass that only burns 7 seconds off the clock. And 3rd and 19 from the 16. Zach Wilson, there is no way you watched that game yesterday. No way you watched that game yesterday and thought that guy's an NFL quarterback. The Lions, dear God, the first half we didn't cover anybody. Just an arm punts down the field. That was a horrific display of quarterback. Mike White gave them their best chance to win. And had Mike White been in that football game, we might be singing a different tune today. But there is no way, whenever you're playing catch with somebody, if you're playing with a football, then sometimes you're playing with a little kid, right? So that, the kid will throw a duck at you, right? It's like a wobbler. And it's just coming. It's not a tight spiral. Nothing tight about that. The nose of the football is like making a figure 8 in the air. If you take the football and you put your index finger on the crown of the football, right there at the tip of it, and you hold the ball, not like you're actually going to throw it like a football, but you put your hand there and throw it with your finger on the tip of it, it's going to come out of your hand exactly like Zach Wilson throws the football. It's going to come out of your hand, and the ball is going to basically be going end over end instead of spiraling. It's going to look like a punt. And every time you do that, if you're playing catch the little kid, you're throwing it back and forth, and you mix that thing in there, they don't know what to do. That ball be coming out, and they think it's like a goose or something. Ah! They don't know what to do. That's what it looks like when Zach Wilson's throwing the football. I mean, I have heard enough about drafting the quarterback. I have. When it's time, it'll be time. I'm not going to get out here and I'm not going to say that, after we talked great about Jared Goff through the last, 6 weeks, we can't just throw him under the bus after a poor performance yesterday. We can't. And statistically, you might look at it and be like, 252, touchdown, okay. No, that offense was not good yesterday. That was not playoff caliber offense. They weren't. If Jared Goff would have been anywhere near his game from the week before, this game is a rout. Offense looked bad. It makes me wonder about playing outdoors a little bit. It does. That did come to my mind. But the clock management from Robert Saleh and the New York Jets coaching staff at the end of that game was just atrocious. How many times have we've seen the Lions do this? We've seen our Lions do this season, where you're sitting at home and you're looking at the scoreboard, you're watching the game, and you're like, dude, what are we doing? Call the timeout. Like, if you have to yell it at the TV, we have a problem. What are we saving timeouts for, Robert Saleh? For what? And there's been a lot of praise of him. I know he's a native. I get it. He's a local. His cousin actually listens to the show, I found out via Twitter yesterday.
Say Walla. Dan?
I don't know what that means.
Is Dan the cousin?
Dan is not the cousin. But if Dan was the cousin, I would say, hey, look, it's nothing personal against Robert Saleh. We needed to win. But some people call into this program and talk about like that man is God. And Zach Wilson is the second coming of Joe Montana. Well, guess what? Zach Wilson's not. And every NFL franchise struggles with the clock. Why? I have no idea. Where is the game clock specialist? Should I apply for a role as the game clock specialist? All we have to do is sit down and have a meeting. How do we want to strategize at the end of the game? Here's the possible scenarios you could have. Let's take a look at each one and how we're going to approach it. Terrible by the Jets there at the end. We're going to step aside. The Jets might have blown it, but Brock Wright and the Lions get it done. We're continuing on to Victory Monday next here, X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.